Dear friends, the current dispute between the United States and China is not so much about trade only. Other area of competition is a race for a global technological dominance. Today it's a prerequisite. Any country able to exercise influence over technology is a strong contender to become the world's next superpower. Therefore, China and the United States are all set for a long-term technological rivalry, one that is unlikely to change no matter the outcome of the US presidential elections. The United States, though, still leads the world in numerous areas of technology, but is now faced with China's ambition to become a global leader in a wide range of these. China's industrial policy, Made in China 2025, is designed to expand its technology sector. According to China's National Bureau of Statistics, China has had a trade surplus of high-tech products since 2000. The World Bank data shows that since 2004, China has been the largest exporter of high-tech products globally. $654 billion, the total value in 2017, which is more than triple than that of the second largest exporter, Germany. China's patent applications continue to grow rapidly, and among the top 2,500 research and development centers worldwide, 438 are Chinese. Hence, China is all geared up, as it says, to leave behind its past as the workshop of the world. Aim is to take the lead now, surpass the United States, and to pursue an independent technological development path. The United States, on the other hand, has described such Chinese policies as a threat to its technological dominance. Aim is to force China to abandon it, or in the least impede it, slow it down. So out of this fear for China's rise in science and technology, the Trump administration launched against China what is known as the Tech War. Under President Trump, the United States has criticized China on a number of technological and industrial laws, practices, policies, and actions that harm American interests, thereby creating this confrontation between these two countries. For example, China has been accused of putting pressure on foreign companies to trade their production technology, their know-how of how they produce their products in return for access to China market. Forced technology transfer is a violation of the World Trade Organization rules on market access. Imagine if a country like Pakistan put this condition to a foreign company. The company could easily decide not to do its business here. But because China, unlike Pakistan, has a huge market, and there are other competing firms waiting in line to gain access to it, the foreign company is forced to give up its production technology in return for permission to sell its products in China. This also results in getting a lower price for these products in the long run. Number one. Number two, China is accused of restricting foreign companies from directly providing digital services like e-commerce, cloud storage, and video streaming to its customers. Some of the largest internet service companies like Google, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube are banned in China. China also restricts data to flow out of the country by imposing digital trade barriers, which means that for Netflix to operate in China, it will have to install its service within China to store its Chinese customers' information. So this practice of blocking legitimate websites and services is costing US business billions of dollars. Number three, another area of concern for the United States is its trade deficit with China. Trade deficit is a situation in which a country purchases more from other country than it sells to other country. So when I say the United States has a trade deficit with China, it means that the United States purchases more from China than it sells to China. And the tech industry has contributed significantly in this regard. The United States had a $419 billion trade deficit in goods with China in 2018, of which electronics such as smartphones, personal computers, and TVs alone accounted for around $130 billion. So the United States wants to slash this deficit down to nearly half. One of the reasons why the tech war is happening in the first place. Number four, while the United States ensures minimum state intervention in the business sector and believes that the government should refrain from market intervention, China has a state-controlled economy. It encourages a government-controlled technological enterprises.
90% of the new jobs are in the private sector. But all the land is still owned by the state. Control of energy resources controlled by the state. Control of the financial system, basically by the state.
This strict control over their business in China has frustrated the United States. Besides, foreign companies are also concerned about state's financial assistance to these Chinese companies, thereby causing an unfair competition in the market. Number 5, even long before Trump became president, the United States has been accusing China of indulging in cyber theft to acquire intellectual property. In 2011, CIA Director Leon Panetta had warned that the United States faced a threat of a cyber Pearl Harbor. This was later followed in 2012 by the head of the National Security Agency and US Cyber Command General Keith Alexander, who referred to the loss of intellectual property through cyber theft as the
greatest transfer of wealth in history.
More recently, the United States is concerned that the Chinese government may access crucial data through Chinese telecommunication companies like Huawei and ZTE. They believe that Huawei is not an independent private company. And with Communist Party officials on its board, its 5G technology could potentially expose customers' information and data in a strategic sector. Therefore, the United States has listed these companies along with TikTok and WeChat as a threat to US national security. Huawei has been banned from accessing parts of Google Android system, and the company has been put on the so-called entity list, which means US companies and individuals cannot export goods, technology and services to Huawei without a license from the US government. First of all, the United States has stepped up efforts to block China's access to advanced American technology. For example, China depends almost entirely on American and other foreign companies for supply of semiconductors. Semiconductors are used in electrical circuits for microchips, which in turn are required to operate everything from a smartphone to an advanced satellite weapon system. In short, microchips are the central nervous systems and brains inside all new technology. And this is one area where the United States has a superiority over China, with 45% of global market share. China, on the other hand, is the world's largest importer of semiconductors. In fact, it purchased more semiconductors than oil in 2018. Therefore, denying China access to American technology is one way of derailing its high-tech industrial plants. However, at the cost of hurting American companies too, because their sales have been curtailed. Secondly, the Trump administration has upgraded the export control system. Simply put, it means a regulation to control the export of items. Hence, the export of technological products to Chinese high-tech companies such as Huawei, Hikvision, SenseTime and others has been tightened. Third, the United States has limited China's access to US science, technology, education and research resources. As mentioned earlier, China has been accused of stealing US technologies and intellectual property. Therefore, the United States has tightened the examination of visa applications of Chinese nationals and students, and has reduced Chinese scholars' access to US laboratories. Meanwhile, the United States is persuading its allies to give up cooperation with Chinese companies so as to restrict their overseas market. For example, the Trump administration has asked its allies and partners, including Germany, Japan, Italy and UK, not to use Huawei's 5G network equipment due to security reasons. China has branded US actions as an attempt to block China's rise. For China, these concerns are exaggerations. The United States' true intention is to deny China its rightful pursuit of economic development. So in the response, China has doubled down on investment in the local tech sector. Aim is to pursue an independent technological path and use domestic suppliers to reduce reliance on foreign technologies like semiconductors and Google mobile services. In the words of President Xi Jinping, Heavy dependence on imported core technology is like building a house on top of someone else's walls. No matter how big and how beautiful it is, it won't remain standing during a storm. First of all, the war, be it the trade war or the take war, will seriously undermine US-China security relations. By declaring China as an enemy, the United States has justified increasing investment in national defense and arms building, especially in new areas such as cyberspace and artificial intelligence, which aids to global instability. Secondly, the world is in dire need of global governance in the field of science and technology. What is needed is to formulate mutually agreed norms and rules. However, the take war between the United States and China has dimmed any such prospect of cooperation in global governance, which can have serious consequences for international politics and security. Take the case of artificial intelligence, a branch of computer science concerned with building smart machines capable of performing tasks that require human intelligence. The race to take the lead in this field may help in the proliferation of this technology. For example, as more countries opt in AI-driven drones, terrorist organizations and other criminal groups can also have access to them to carry out their operations. Similarly, weapons based on artificial intelligence can lead to serious conflicts among states. Third, decoupling between the United States and China could split the world into two separate information blocks, one led by the United States and the other by China, placing the remaining states into with me or against me option, as both powers will compete to bring smaller economies into their own systems. This split can also result in balkanization of internet. This is because China has opposite views about the nature of internet and how it should operate. It promotes authoritarian concept of internet, which is in direct contrast to the United States' support for a global open internet. It is impossible to predict at this point how the current dispute between the United States and China will play out. This is because beyond their bilateral relationship, both countries are deeply integrated into a global trading system. So given today's level of interdependence, the question is, who will benefit from this competition? In this clash of titans, who will emerge victorious? Can the United States or China win the take war? If so, at what cost to themselves and to others? Experience teaches men that cooperative action is more efficient and productive than an isolated action of self-sufficient individuals. That is why the US-China take war can have no winners, only losers.